And the whole theater went dead silent, holding their breath.
Mm.
And I was like, got it.
Academy Award-winning stunt coordinator, driver, and action writer Robert Nagle is the man behind some of our favorite car movies, including Ford vs. Ferrari, Baby Driver, Ferrari, Miami Vice, Mission Impossible, and the Fast and Furious franchise. He gives us a peek behind the Hollywood curtain, and he's got stories galore. They could definitely make a movie about the man himself. It's That Car Show.
That Car Show is brought to you by Sheffield Watches.
The Sheffield watch brand has a long and storied history, but it was revived a couple years back by our good friend and true car guy, Jay Turkbus. Jay was gifted a Sheffield watch by his parents when he was a kid, and he still has it to this day. Jay wanted to make the same experience available to all of us, a reasonably priced, high-quality watch that endures and that we enjoy sharing with our fellow watch enthusiasts and car people.
From divers' watches to watches designed for travel to collaboration with automotive pals like Spike Ferriston and Jay Leno, Sheffield has a watch for you. Find your own Sheffield watch at sheffieldwatches.com and at Sheffield_allsport_watches on Instagram, and let Jay know you heard about Sheffield Watches from That Car Show.
Thank you so much to everyone who entered our recent Sheffield watch giveaway. We loved hearing your thoughts and what you're enjoying about the show. We're having fun putting it together, and we love having you with us. Hey Matt Hay is our lucky winner. Congratulations to Matt. Please send us a DM with your mailing address and the watch of your choice. And congratulations again. We're excited to have you join the Sheffield family. We've got some interesting guests, fun giveaways, and great shows ahead for you. Thank you all for listening, and please keep those comments coming. Welcome back to That Car Show. I'm Lindsay, and I'm here with Ryan. And this week we have a very special guest who I'm really excited to talk to, particularly because as we logged in, we discovered that we're wearing the same outfit, which is pretty amazing. We have Robert Nagle with us. He's an Academy Award-winning stunt coordinator and driver. Hi, Robert.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate that you got the memo and you wore the right shirt. For those that are just listening, yes. Robert was the stunt coordinator on Ford v Ferrari, and I am very lucky to have a version of one of the shirts that was made for the stunt crew. So Robert is wearing the real one, and I am wearing one that was part of the official run. But yeah, we're wearing matching shirts today from Ford v Ferrari. So that's going to set the tone. We're obviously going to talk about that movie because it's very close to my heart. But Robert's work includes obviously Ford versus Ferrari, and Ferrari as well. You've definitely seen his work as he's been the stunt driver and coordinator and action writer and director in more than 100 films and television series, including Gran Turismo, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, 5 films in the Fast and Furious series, which is another thing I'm very curious to hear about because I love those. The Hangover, The Dark Knight Rises, Total Recall, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Collateral, Miami Vice, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, and Drive, as well as Baby Driver, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, Baby Driver's one of the big ones.
Maybe we should list the movies you haven't been involved with,
right?
Because your IMDb page is really mind-boggling. It's amazing all you've been involved with.
Thank you. No, I'm very fortunate in being able to be involved in some really great projects.
Well, and one of the other things that I find so fascinating and I would love to hear about is that you have, in addition to being a stunt coordinator and driver and action writer, you've also trained a lot of the stars that were involved in these movies, and the list is pretty impressive. It includes obviously director Michael Mann, actors Christian Bale, Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx, Ryan Gosling, Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie Grace, and Stephen Graham. So you have had quite a life, and I'm very excited to hear about it. One thing that I thought was so interesting in prepping to chat with you, you were on our friend Maurice Merrick's podcast, Horsepower Heritage, and you mentioned that you had started in drag racing, but you had gotten bored of it. And drag racing to me feels like the very opposite of boring. Yeah. So I was curious if you can talk about that experience and what it was that ultimately led you to say, this isn't it for me, and I'm bored, I'm moving on.
I mean, ultimately it came down to, it served me well. Meaning I learned how to make horsepower. I learned how to get the horsepower to the ground, make a chassis really hook up. Yeah. The problem was, you line up, you eventually get to the start line, you make a 10-second run, 3 or 4 hours later, you might be able to go again.
Oh, okay. So it was
And
sort of
I'm like,
the
oh,
process around it.
just thought, yeah. And after a while, I was like, okay, it just doesn't have, it's not grabbing my attention anymore.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I have a touch of ADD and it just wasn't kicking it off the right way.
But those 10 seconds must be absolutely amazing, right? It's
Um,
just,
Oddly enough, I'm criticizing the car the whole time.
yeah, okay.
Not
Now
doing
you
this
know.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Wild. Yeah.
Because you were building your drag cars, is that correct?
Yeah.
So you're critiquing your own work the whole time.
Yes, but I'm actually mad at the car. Like,
Yeah,
you should be doing this better, be doing that better. And, and obviously we're talking about just tiny little things.
Yeah.
Right. But that's a good point. I mean, it would definitely take you out of the experience. And like you said, if it's really just a few seconds in the car for hours and hours of waiting, that makes sense.
And then there were times like the Friday night before I get home from work, I'm like, I want to try a different cam. Rip the motor apart, put a new cam in, degree it, put it back together, load it on a trailer the next morning, and off we go.
So did you ever have where you go, okay, it's a simple, I'm going to swap this out, and then you're up all night because something won't work? Or something like that.
Oddly enough, I had it down to a science. So I could swap the cam in probably an hour.
Well, that helps. That's
Yes.
a big difference.
So how did we get from there to here? I'm sure that was a journey. But it
Yeah,
feels like you
and-
finally found where you probably should have been all along.
Well, I started studying race car engineering, which is an offshoot of mechanical engineering, and they had a road race car, and I took it out, and I'm like, this is effing awesome. I like this. We're out here for 45 minutes, and it just from there just exploded, and road racing became my passion for driving and building cars equally, and taking what I've learned from drag racing to make horsepower, get the chassis to hook up. I was able to put together some pretty quick cars.
So what was the most surprising thing when you were studying race car engineering? Because coming from drag racing, I would imagine you knew a fair amount that would have translated, or at least you were familiar. So what was the thing that you went, oh, I didn't see that coming?
It was more about chassis design that I learned the most. Because I mean, in drag racing is a pretty simple chassis. You're just dealing with forward acceleration. And a lot of this, I mean, I was a voracious reader, so I would just read all kinds of stuff that pertained to what I wanted to learn. So probably just really chassis design for a road race car is probably the biggest, but it clicked very quickly with me.
That makes sense. So one of the things when I was reading about all of the work that you've done, I've never heard of action writing and directing. And I know you've talked about that on a couple of the other podcasts that you've been on. Like, can you explain what that is and what the process is like? And were you aware that that was an option when you got into the movie business?
Not really. It's just one of those things that progresses and evolves into that. There was a minor evolution in Baby Driver where myself and Darren Prescott, who was the second unit director, we sat with Edgar Wright once a month for almost a year, coming up with all different ideas for the action sequences. That then evolved to when I got hired for Ford Ferrari. James Mangold, the director, kind of looked at me and says, I know nothing about cars. This is up to you.
Really?
So I literally wrote the action for all the races. And then he came back to me. He goes, I need some cool dialogue. Write some cool dialogue for this technical stuff.
Okay.
So it just became this unforeseen evolution. And he, to his credit, he really encouraged me to continue to write. And really loved what I'd given him. So that was, that felt really good.
Yeah.
Well, no pressure, right? I mean, in a movie like that, you're going to have all the car nerds picking every little thing apart, right? But yet that movie really is held up, to such a, in high regard, right? As being just a movie that did get everything right.
It's just a good film. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't say that about every car movie. I was thinking about it this morning, and I think it's one of the few movies, like, it's near and dear to my heart for a lot of reasons. Like, I grew up in a Ford and Shelby family, and I've driven at Willow Springs for a long time. And so there were a lot of elements of it that connected for me personally. But I think one of the pieces of high praise for that movie is that you don't have to be a car person to watch it and enjoy it and appreciate the story, because you all did such a good job of telling the human side of it as well as the cars. Like, there really is something for everybody in that movie. And that's not always the case. So
I
kudos to all of
appreciate
you.
No, thank you. I so appreciate hearing that. And to kind of build on what you just said and what I said prior, when I did design the three races, Willow Springs, uh, Daytona, which we shot at California Speedway, um,
Right.
and Le Mans, there's a progression in the storyline, and they kind of mirror what's going on in the narrative. So when we're cutting back and forth, it kind of feels natural, and we don't really, what I'd say, get pulled out of the story. And that was important to
Right.
me. Um, and one doesn't live without the other. I mean, you can't have this cool action and ridiculous narrative. You can't have great narrative and action that's just
Yeah.
whatever. So I felt it really came together quite well.
Yeah.
That's a good
And then to
point.
build,
It flows very well.
thank you. And Lindsay, it's funny is uh, Fox / Disney, because they bought Fox, hired me to go around for the DVD release of Ford Ferrari. They flew me out to Daytona, Shelby Museum and whatnot. So I got to meet all these people that were just enamored with the film.
Yeah.
And the number one comment was from women that would say, "Oh, I went to this movie," an eye roll, "with my husband, boyfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a car film." And then they'd go, "Oh my God, I was on the edge of my seat this whole time. It was fantastic." And then they look at me and go, "But why did you have to kill him?"
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. That's like that joke. I mean, it was like the joke, not joke when Titanic came out and the older couple's in line ahead of the younger couple and the younger couple storms off. Well, what do you mean the boat sinks? Oh my gosh.
What's the secret to making racing on screen realistic? Because as we've alluded to, we've seen poor, examples so often, and yet when you're involved, it seems to be done just right. What is it that's different?
It's real racing action.
Yeah.
From my experience and years of being on a road course, showing story-wise how it really works, and then also knowing how to make that look dynamic.
Yeah.
Because oddly enough, sometimes you've got to drive a car through a different line for camera to make it look right.
Okay. Interesting.
But it's having all these little pieces of, the competition and the pressure and whatnot, but not going over the top with it,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think
keep it grounded in reality. For me, it was always keep it grounded in reality.
Yeah.
That was
And I think
something
it's served me
No,
well.
go ahead.
Yeah.
That was another thing that caught my attention in your conversation with Maurice was the focus on authenticity, because I know you and he discussed CGI and
Yeah,
how that can be a resource if you use it intelligently.
correct.
And
Absolutely.
you have to keep, like, I really thought I thought it was really interesting, your point about if what your eye is looking at is real, then it gives you the freedom to play with the margins. But if what you're focused on isn't real, again, like you mentioned, taking the viewer out of the story.
100%.
I think there are a few things that do that more quickly than when you're like, is that an outline? And you start looking like green screen, and then you realize you're not in the story anymore. But one of the other things that I thought was so interesting that I'd love to hear a little more about, because I loved the way you described it, was sometimes where you have to maybe overdrive the car to get the movement that you want on the screen. And you described it as making the cars act. And I loved that image. And I wondered if you could sort of share a little bit more about that and how you do that, like how you accomplish that safely. And also, is that something that you anticipate? Is it something where, like, when you start filming, you go, okay, we need a little more because it's not translating the way we thought? Or just, I would love to hear about that process.
When I'm able to have my hands on that deep with it, I'll try and set the cars up on sort of a bit softer suspension, so that now you kind of see that body movement more.
Right.
When if it were set up for a proper race, it would barely move, and it really wouldn't translate on the film. So if we can see that roll and you can see the dive and braking, and it adds that extra element of feel to it.
Yeah, it's a lot more dynamic on the film, and you get the visual interest. How does that change? Because, like you said, that's not the ideal setup for the type of driving that you're doing. So how does that change your thought process and what you tell the actors and the stunt drivers or whoever's going to be driving?
Mm-hmm.
How do you adjust for that in the car?
We'll just yell action. Here we go. No, I mean, obviously every bit you see on camera is, absolutely choreographed.
Right.
But everybody gets seat time in their car before we do that so that they're accustomed to it. If there's something they don't like, we can make some changes because I do want to be able to run the cars pretty much at their limit.
So when you are training stunt drivers and you've also trained like the actual actors, how do you decide who's driving, like when to have the actor drive and when to have a stunt driver or a precision driver step in? And how do you figure that all out?
So rarely do we ever actually have the actor driving in something that's that dynamic. I'll fool you and you'll think they're driving.
Yeah.
Right.
But to go back to the training aspect of it, so my goal is to get them to understand what being a race car driver, sticking with Ford Ferrari, being what a race car driver is. So with Christian, we went to it was then Bob Bondurant School in Arizona,
Right.
and we spent a week out there, and just training and training and training. And the beautiful side piece, and one of the reasons I took him there, because I wanted him to meet Bob Bondurant,
Right.
who I didn't know at the time was a very close friend of Ken Miles.
Oh, really?
Right. He was one
So
of the drivers,
yeah.
the Team Shelby drivers.
Yeah. So we would spend 6-7 hours in the morning training. It would get too hot. So that's done.
Arizona.
We'd then spend the next 3 to 4 hours just sitting and chatting with Bob about that era and everything. And it was so beautiful and so valuable for Christian. It was just fantastic. But anyway, going back to the training, the actual physical training, I need him at this level of training, but he only needs to be here on camera because on the day there's so much going on. There's so much pressure. Now he's in the car with absolute confidence, and you will see it if he's not.
Oh, interesting.
And then to build on that, so then most of the racing sequences, there are times he did drive. There were times we had him pull into the pits, get out of the car, or get in the car and take off. And I felt completely comfortable with that. Yeah. But the majority of the stuff, he was on a rig that I co-invented with Alan Alford, the biscuit rig.
Yes.
And
I want to hear all about that.
Yeah.
And we can get into that. But going back to the training, Christian knew what to do going into a corner. The eye movement, the hands, what he should be doing so that it matches seamlessly and you don't know he's not driving. And I fooled you all.
Right. Exactly. Well, and again, that speaks to the flow of the movie. Excuse me. My little recording buddy is having a moment. Again, everything flowed so seamlessly that you stay in the story completely, which is what you were hearing from a lot of the viewers too, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Tell us about this biscuit rig, if you would.
Biscuit rig.
Yeah.
Where do I start?
Begin at the beginning.
Probably with the name, because that's the most curious
Yes.
question I get. So before we designed the one we have today, Alan Alford had built this rig for this little movie called Seabiscuit. And it was this massive platform that they mounted mechanical horses on that they could move fore and aft along the camera, looking profile at the actors with real horses in the background running around the racetrack. And because of the size of this thing, the crew affectionately named it the USS Seabiscuit.
That's amazing.
And so it worked beautifully for the film.
Yeah.
It then went on to Aviator, where they used it to mount an aircraft fuselage on for Leo to taxi around and for one of the crash sequences. And while they were filming, a brush fire came through their base camp, burnt everything to the ground, including his rig. Oh, wow. Just completely destroyed.
Oh my gosh.
So it was about 2 years after that, he calls me and said, "Hey, I want to revisit this. Let's see how we can make it better." And so we built a smaller version. I designed a steering system that allows the driver's pod where we can move it anywhere onto the platform so that wherever the director wants to point the camera, you can't see moi driving it. And we didn't know what to call it. So we just jokingly called it the Biscuit Junior.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, it's a better name than the Super Whammy rig, because of the story that's attached to the name.
Absolutely.
And what's funny is if I'm on set with it, I'll often get somebody ask me, why is it called a biscuit? And I'll tell them the story. somewhere in the middle of the day or near the end of the day, I'll see another crew member going, "Hey, you know why it's called a biscuit?" And they'll tell the story. And it's like
No.
that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, fun. So
Yeah.
have you perfected your like, huh, you don't say.
So we stuck with the name. I mean, it's appropriate.
So is there only one? Is there only one Biscuit Junior?
No,
or is
we have
this
three. We have three.
Okay.
So can you talk about what the differences are and like what advantages, disadvantages
Yeah.
for different
So
scenarios?
you've seen the one in action on Baby Driver and Ford Ferrari, which is what I call our sports car version. It's got an LS that's been bored and stroked to be as big as you can make an LS.
Okay.
Makes over 650 horsepower and will go 150 miles an hour.
Wow.
And when people look at it, like, there's no way this thing's that fast.
Right.
And then they're like, oh my God, when I throttle up. So it's really for the dynamic stuff where we can slide it, spin it, do some really actiony stuff where we used it on drive.
Yeah.
And then we have another one that we built after that, which is a little bit bigger, more heavy duty. It's for higher loads. It's not as fast, which is fine.
Mm.
And then we have a third one that the bed is actually modular, where we can add or subtract pieces to change the length and width of the bed. And it was specifically designed to help when they want to do mechanical horses like they did on their original Seabiscuit, because it's a nice flat surface that everybody can mount their gap to.
And is that a request that you get fairly often? Like mechanical horses are involved?
Surprise! I mean, you'd be amazed. Yeah, they use them a lot.
Yeah.
Because really you're focused
wild.
tight on the actor, and all you see is like sort of part of the horse's neck and mane kind of moving through frame, and it works.
Well, and again, I think you fooled us because I think I always just assume it's a real horse.
Yeah. Yeah. What's it like sitting at a premiere, seeing your work on the screen and taking in, the responses of the audience and all that? I mean, it must be the most satisfying thing in the world.
It's pretty great, to be honest, and I am there to kind of feel the environment and the atmosphere and response. And so when you get these moments, you're like, yes, we did it. In the movie Ferrari, at the end with this massive wreck, I was waiting for it, and my date was next to me, and I'm watching her because I know it's coming. She doesn't. And then it kicks off, and this car just tumbles through people. And she was just like, and the whole theater went dead silent, holding their breath. And I was like, got it.
You jumped up. You're the only one in the theater cheering. We nailed it.
Yeah.
I should have done that.
Right? It's okay, guys. I was involved in the film. Carry on.
Don't mind me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you about that scene because it's such an iconic scene. And I believe that was, if not the reason, a big part of the reason that they actually paused the Mille Miglia for.
No, it is
several
the
years.
reason.
That's the reason. And you did such a good job of conveying, like you just said, the feeling of it in the film. And I had heard that too, that like when people watched it in the theaters and didn't know it was coming, that you could have heard a pin drop.
Yeah.
Talk about the process of putting that scene together and knowing that it's going to be maybe more emotionally impactful than some other crash scenes because of the spectators that are involved in it. What was the process of putting that together?
Well, I mean, that was a big back and forth with Michael and myself. And, and obviously he's dealing with the actors and the crowd and setting the emotional scene for like, oh, this family, they're out here to watch the wreck,
Yes.
and then, it's my job to make a wreck.
Right.
And one of the things I conveyed to him, I said, Michael, understand when this car gets airborne, from the driver's perspective and even the audience, or not the audience, but the people on the side of the road, it goes dead silent. And he's like, I love that. So you get this, and there's that moment of silence, and you don't know and I think that's what helped draw it all together.
Yeah. It was so powerful.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
well done. Yeah.
Well, and I agree about the sound. And again, I think that speaks to your skill because the attention to detail like that. I think when you think about a car crash, you don't necessarily think about like, okay, but what role does sound play in it? And
Huge.
yeah, the experience of watching that scene when it goes silent, it's like makes you snap to attention. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah. And up to that, like there was so much visceral sound from the cars and whatnot. So you up here and then wham, nothing.
Just yeah. Well, and again, you talk about people saying like, why did Ken die at the end of the movie? I think if you know the story, it changes your watching experience or the viewing experience because you know it's coming. And so with the scene with the family, you know, you see the little boy run out and I had this like,
Yeah.
no, don't go. But it tells you how authentic the film is. And yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And well, I mean, maybe it helps memorialize, those who
Yeah.
lost their lives in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
I know.
obviously preparation is the key, right, to a good result with anything. I'm really fascinated just with the process of putting a movie together because it seems overwhelming, right? Where do you start? How do you organize? I mean, from what cars you need to like what it seems overwhelming. It seems like something that would be almost impossible to wrap your head around. Where do you start? Do you sketch it out? Do you do spreadsheets? I mean, what are the logistics behind what you do?
I write a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll go through the script and break down the action scenes, and kind of start picking it apart. How can I make it better? How can I make it more interesting? And I'll overwrite the scene and then start condensing that back down to something that's usable. But I try and be very, very detailed in my writing when I do that because I want somebody to read it and really feel what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah.
So was that a part of your process anyway before you were officially an action writer and director? Like, were you already writing things out for yourself?
Yeah, that was my methodology. Yeah,
Then it makes
it
sense.
just kind of fell together.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, other movies that have done it right, have done what you do right, and Ronin comes to mind, right? That's the one we always point to.
Yes.
Are you a fan of Ronin? Is that on your list?
Early in my career, that was my target to beat.
Okay.
It was always been my favorite car chase. They did it so well.
Yeah.
Frankenheimer killed it. I mean, just so beautifully done.
Yeah.
And you feel, and like, where I've always strived, I want that feeling you're in the car. I want you to feel that jeopardy. I want you to feel all that.
Yes.
And he absolutely nailed it. And early on, I would get that question that you just asked. And they'd say, well, what about Bullet? Or what about this? And I'm like, yeah, but Ronin's way more dynamic.
It really is. I remember seeing that movie in the theaters, and I didn't know what I was getting into. I think it just went with a buddy or whatever. I had to go see a movie, and just being so thrilled that it was a car movie, right? It was other things too, and then seeing that scene and just being completely blown away, right? And the cars, like car casting, is such a part of I think what you do too, right? And they nailed that as well, which I think was a big part of it. I'm so glad to hear that that's a favorite of yours as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely top of the list. And speaking of car casting, originally Baby Driver, the opening scene was a Honda Civic.
Really?
And I was like, Edgar, there's a better option here.
Might I
Enter
make a
Subaru WRX.
Yeah, and there was so much buzz around that amongst enthusiasts, right? Like, I mean, people picked up on that, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. And bad car casting, like anything else, will take you out of a movie.
Right.
Wes Anderson is a guy who I think always does it right.
Yes.
The 300 TE Mercedes wagon for the teacher in Rushmore or whatever. It's just like that car like that represents so much. But if you know, you know, and it's I think an unsung sort of aspect of what you do is getting that car casting right. So
Cool. Thank you.
So, Robert, Ryan's question ties in with something I was going to ask you, and this is your work is included as possible answers. But what are your top 5 favorite car movies?
I mean, obviously mine.
Yeah.
it's only right.
And the list is full. We're done. Next question.
Yeah. Next. Even though I was involved with it, I still find it a fun movie. It was Talladega Nights. It was just the whole premise of it was just hilarious.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I thought it was pulled off so well.
Yeah, and that's a tough sort of proposition when you think about it, because you've got car people are going to watch it because it's a car movie, but it was so absurd by design.
Yes.
And to have it succeed and have them enjoy it, even though it's like poking fun at the culture, I think that tells you the level of the film it is. I mean, I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, and I was just a hired gun driver, if you will, for that film.
Okay.
But when I'd heard the premise of the story, I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, and some of the lines in that movie, I quote them constantly.
Yeah.
Like
Still today, you
hysterical.
hear them somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like Shake and Bake has, is like permanent part of the
Yeah.
culture, in the zeitgeist. Like
Yeah.
it's
Jacked up
when
a
they,
Mountain Dew. I'm going to come at you
yeah,
like a spider monkey.
or like, dear, what is it, 8 pound, 9 ounce baby Jesus? Like, please.
Yeah, yeah. What was that crew like to work with? Because that must have just been every day. Must have just been a blast.
Well, I mean, we're off doing all the action, so I wasn't
Yeah.
involved
Okay.
with a lot of that.
Yeah.
We were out
Yeah.
wrecking cars,
Yeah.
which
I'm
was,
so blessed. Yeah.
fun of
Equally
itself.
fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, because, and I was thinking this when I was watching the Ferrari sequence. You've got a car flying through the air, and I know you've talked about this, like the pressure that adds when you're crashing something. You have maybe 2 takes. Like, what is that
I'd won.
like? You had one, yeah, and that one, I figured that's a one-shot deal. But so talk about like what considerations you take into account when you're planning, and driver safety, and can you share what that's like?
I get drivers all day long. That's fine.
We have more. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah. Next, bring the next guy
We
in.
have
Keep it
2 of those
replaced.
guys.
Yeah.
We're good.
So this crash was obviously very crucial. I spent weeks digging through report after report of the actual crash to figure out how it actually went down. Because some of the stuff made no sense physics-wise, what they thought the car did.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
So I won't go into a lot of detail, but I'll just say because of the speed of the car, it did something that they weren't used to seeing. And the fact that you didn't have cameras all over the road course, nobody really understood it. And that is the car got sideways and it's a wing and it went airborne. That's what happened. And we've seen it with NASCAR, so in the early days before all the flaps and everything that they've added.
Yeah.
Car goes sideways 150 miles an hour plus, it's in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just launches.
And so, but it was also, me building a timeline from where the car landed to where the first contact happened and just kind of playing that back and breaking that down into microseconds. This happened here, this happened here, this happened there. And then stitching that together for my part of it, which is the physical crash, and then handing off to CG, which I have no control over.
No.
Oh,
So it's a bit of a marriage. I
Yeah.
wasn't 100% happy with the CG,
Interesting.
but the physical crash was spot on.
Yeah. 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 Are you a film guy, a digital guy, like a traditionalist? Like where do you sit with technology?
They both have their merit. I mean, film just has a nice feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Digital is kind of, you have less constraints. So I think maybe
mm.
you have to be far more disciplined with film. So I think digital, not to offshoot it too much, but I think digital has made some people lazy.
Interesting.
I was going to say you don't have the constraint. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
is it the economics of it because you're using the
It's
physical
just the
film, or-
discipline. Actual film, you have to be very disciplined in planning everything because it all revolved around the mag can only run for so long.
Mm.
Now you got to stop and reload the mag. That's all built into it. Versus digital, just keep rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an endless resource. But yeah, it forces you with film, you have to be
Yeah.
efficient. That's
So
interesting.
it's kind of nice to show up on a set and see film mags on a back of the camera.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I think Paul Thomas Anderson, is he a film guy? All film? I'm not
He's great.
mistaken. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you were in Licorice
Yeah,
Pizza,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, to come to a
Yeah, I was only on
different
for a
kind of-
couple. Just a couple
Okay.
days. But
Okay.
his latest one, I was there for, gosh, almost a month.
Oh,
He
wow.
he was such a delight to work with.
That's awesome. I mean, you hear about him being this auteur, and the kinds of movies he does. So to hear that he's a nice guy is always good to hear too. No,
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
a neat movie. Yeah, Boogie Nights is still one of my favorite.
So great.
Although, right? Isn't that like the greatest movie? And I was going to say it's not a car movie, but it is because you talk about
Yeah.
that car casting and the Z car, right? And I mean, just so well done, so well done. So, how has Hollywood changed in your career? We talk about racing has changed.
Next question.
Yeah.
I mean, what were
It's,
the glory days for you, or what? Where do we sit now?
I don't know what I would call it glory days. It's just
I mean,
right
we
now.
could be
It's It's going through a massive transition that nobody
Yeah.
knows where it's headed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really sad. There's so
Yeah.
many people being put out of work.
Yeah.
I've only worked a handful of days in the last 4 months.
Really.
And is that because things are being filmed in different countries or just
It's a myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
It's not just one.
Yeah. Where do you think it'll go? What's your take? I mean, Hollywood is this thing, you know, it's the state of mind. There's so much more to it than just making movies, right?
It is, but it's taken on this odd life. I don't know where it's going. I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when it's busy, it's this mad schedule of, are you available this day, available that day, and it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Versus now, I'm like, is my phone even working?
Mhm.
wow, yeah, that's a big change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like watch this space.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just strange days for sure, but
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think you may be our only Academy Award winner that's been on
Oh, wow.
the show, which is very, very cool. How did winning an Oscar change things for you?
Didn't change much. I mean,
Yeah.
I still have to pay, go to Starbucks, still costs me $5 for a cup of coffee.
Right.
So
You know, whip that out and get like
There's
a
no
20%
automatic-
discount. Yeah.
Academy Award winners, your coffee is
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean,
What
it's a nice feather in the cap for sure.
Yeah.
And it looks
Yeah.
great on a resume. I don't know that it's actually gained me anything other
Okay.
than I'm
Already
that
did.
guy. Oh, you want one of those? Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like? I'm assuming you went to the awards ceremony.
Yeah. So we had a different award. It's because it's Technical Achievement Award.
Got it.
It was, beautifully well done. And Margot Robbie was the one that gave me my
Oh,
award.
wow.
Oh my gosh.
And
cool is
she's
that?
so sweet. And to this day, she shows up on set and she sees that she's going to be on the biscuit rig because it was about the biscuit rig. She's just like, oh my God, I can't wait. And then, we'll get together and talk a little bit and off we go. But yeah, it's really
That's
cool.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I
it
love
is-
that.
It is
Well,
cool.
and you talk about car casting, and it makes me think of like even The Wolf of Wall Street was not a car
yeah.
movie per se, but they had that very iconic scene with the car, and obviously she wasn't driving it. But again, it's like that's such a moment in time, and it's cited so often in the culture, especially in the car community.
Right.
That's so iconic. But so can you talk about like car casting? Kind of is an art to me, and like you said, your influence with Baby Driver, what is that like, and is that pretty standard that you get to be involved and make suggestions, or like how does that all work?
It, honestly, it really depends on what level I'm brought in creatively to help
Got
out. And that runs the whole spectrum. Also, you have some directors that are open to that input. You have some directors that aren't so open to the input. So
Right.
it's a bit of a balancing game.
Yeah, depends on the team, I would think. Talk a little bit more about Baby Driver. It's just really a feast for the eyes. The story really hooks you in, which is again I think it's a hallmark of a good car movie when the
Yeah.
story is just as engaging as the action. I think you really feel for the characters, but some of those action sequences are second to none, like the driving sequences. Can you talk about what that was like to be involved, like what it felt like to see the finished film? I love it. I would love to hear all the stories.
Um, so my involvement part of it, so I was running first and second unit, coordinating both, along with driving the biscuit rig. So I kind of had my hands full.
Yeah.
But it speaks to the detailed planning that Darren Prescott and I did leading up to going to camera, so that we knew pretty much what we were shooting every day, every hour, every minute, and just bang, 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 getting the shots crossed off. And then Jeremy Fry, who was the double for Ansel, he worked with Ansel to get some of the sequences for him, but he really worked hard to get the cars to work the way he needed them to work, so that when we showed up on the day, we get exactly what we needed, and he nailed it.
You've made a career out of cars and driving, all that. You're obviously an enthusiast. Do you get out for drives still? Is that still a thrill for you? What do you drive? What's in your garage? Tell me about the enthusiast side of Robert Nagle.
So I'll do track day every now and again.
Okay.
I can't get in a race car because I can't do it for fun. Like that's competitive switch comes on.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
So I'm I have to have long talks with myself before I do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But let me throw the question back at you. What do you think my daily driver is?
So, okay, I'm gonna break this down. I see a lot of camera cars that are Porsche Cayennes, right? That seems to be a very popular. Was it boom car or camera car, whatever the term is?
Call them arm cars.
Okay. So I'm thinking you are a Porsche guy. I'm looking at you. I see you behind the wheel of a Porsche, and I may be way off here. I'm gonna say you drive a 911 Turbo.
Lindsay, you have any guesses?
Yeah, I'm going to go totally the opposite direction. The first thing that popped into my head was an F-150. I'm just thinking, I don't know, like daily and with everything that you do for work, I can see that.
It's gotta be practical.
I can see it go in that direction. So all right. So what's the real answer?
Yeah.
So I'll work into it. So I am a huge Porsche fan. One of my favorite cars I've ever driven was a GT3 around Willow Springs. And I was just blown away how great that car worked. I mean, just was glued to the track.
The best.
And yes, and the Cayennes are very, very popular for arm cars. I've driven plenty of those.
Yeah.
I do drive a German car, but it's not a Porsche.
Okay.
It's an Audi S8.
Oh, that's speaking of Ronin,
right?
That tracks just perfectly, Robert. And I love that you drive an S8.
And I love the fact that most people don't even know what the car is. It's just this big, beautiful four-door sedan that is a rocket.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's a if you know, you know, but it's kind of along the lines of the what was that, the Holden SS, where people are like, nice Impala. You're like, watch this.
That may be the best thing you could have answered with. I'm gonna
it's amazing.
I love that.
Thank
That's
you.
What you drive.
So I might upset some of your fans, but I actively hunt Corvettes with it.
Okay.
Nice.
My man.
As one should.
Yeah. Are you so you're in LA, obviously. Are you an Angeles Crest guy? Like, where do you go for a fun drive?
On the street, I don't really do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
That's what
I'll go to the track for that. So the other car I have is basically a one-of-one dark horse, one of the early ones.
Really?
Yeah.
So what makes it a one of one?
I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's at least one of 20. So
like, I can't tell you. I could tell you, then I'd have to kill you.
Yeah. I'm very fortunate to be brought into Ford's VIP program. So when these cars come up, they just send me an email/menu. They're like, do you want one? And then I can go through and click off all the options I want.
Nice.
Apparently the options I put together, a dealership can't get it that way. And it was almost a year to get the car built.
So break the car down. What's the spec?
It's got the competition suspension, the wheels and tires. The wheels are carbon fiber, and that's my understanding. They only produce 20 with the carbon fiber wheels.
Wow.
The color combo, like one of the options is to take the stripe, run it all the way over the car, and it's painted instead of vinyl. And having seen some of the vinyl ones, I'm like, why? That looks horrible.
Who thought that was a good idea? Come on.
Yeah, it's a great car. Ford killed it with this chassis. Absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
I think Dan had one, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he went on and on about it. You know?
I know.
I mean, the fact it comes with a drift brake, come on.
Oh.
Does it really?
Yes.
Because you've had Mustangs before this one, correct?
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of Mustangs.
Yeah.
So let's throw a bone to the Ford people. So which Mustangs have you had?
I've had a 65, a 67, a 69 Cobra Jet, a 70 Mach 1. From there, we now get in the Fox bodies. I had a couple, mid 80s. My first real road race car was a 93 Cobra R body that I'd gotten from Ford, and we turned into a race car. And then from there, two SM95 Cobras that we built into race cars.
Wow. And so I don't know how often you get to the track, but do you have a favorite track either in Southern California or in the U.S.?
Anyone I don't have to pay for.
I like that answer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Guys,
anybody that hands me keys and says, take my car out around the track, I want to see what it can do. Let's go.
Yeah.
No, I
Back
mean,
to oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, obviously the iconic tracks. I love Laguna Seca. Some of the tracks
Yeah.
out on the East Coast, they're just, but they're all fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You mentioned Fox bodies, and I like that Fox bodies are kind of having a moment now.
Yeah.
And I think back to high school, and I thought the coolest thing in the world that wasn't German was an LX50 manual, like cloth seats, kind of like that CHP spec. Like I just thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, the little
I
notch
still
back
want one.
one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's something about there. They're just pure. The tires stick out a little bit, and any reason someone like me, midlife crisis kind of guy, wouldn't want a Fox body LX 5.0, or they're pretty great.
I can't think, especially now with everything that you can get aftermarket wise. Like they're fun. They're just fun cars.
Yeah, they are. Okay, well, you're not talking me out of it, so.
No.
I tried. Sorry, not sorry.
Lindsay's our resident Ford person on the show, but I'm coming around.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
Yeah. You'll see the
Slowly
light. Don't
bringing
worry.
them into the
right
fold.
on.
Yeah. So I had a GT350R, one of the newer ones, and
Nice.
boy, those were just intoxicating. And Ryan, you need to drive one of those. Actually, that will fully convert you.
Yeah, right on. So, just as someone who drives, regular roads, freeways in California, and all that, what are some mistakes you see even those of us who think we're pretty good drivers make? Like, what are things you see again and again?
How much time do we have?
We got all the time in the world.
The stage is
We
yours.
might need it.
Yeah.
But I think people
my
are getting
God.
worse. I swear, people
No,
are
you're
getting
not wrong.
worse. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What
I
is
would
it?
agree with that.
They drive around with their high beams on. They tailgate. They can't move out of the left lane. But you take this one.
My biggest pet peeve is just parking your car in the number one lane, in the which is the fast lane. When I say parking, you're going under the speed limit.
Yeah.
Won't move over.
Right.
It's like, and then you get other cars clustered around them, and next thing you know, it's like, I lose my mind.
Yeah, that's the thing I wish they would enforce. Speeding is not the issue, right? I mean, it's those people because you're passing them. All this. I mean, it drives me up the wall. Here in Colorado, the big thing is canyon etiquette. And you're obviously out with a group of friends and you want to have a spirited drive, and there's someone with a Nebraska license plate or whatever that's sitting doing 10 under, and there are places to pull out, and they don't. But I think it all comes down to just sort of, situational awareness. And just respect for your fellow driver. Like it's just, we're getting away from that. In my own lifetime, it's changed so much and it drives me up the wall. I'm glad you agree.
Situational awareness is such a proper term for that. Absolutely.
I think
And you get so many people who just don't pay attention.
Yeah. And I'm sure the phones have played into this,
Certainly hasn't helped.
Large part is.
Yeah. Well, and I think car people or people that enjoy driving, your awareness is heightened, and so the contrast is even bigger where you've got somebody that's completely unaware.
Yes.
You're maybe more aware than the average person, and like I find myself constantly managing like the traffic behind me, in front of me, on the side. You're watching behind, and
Constantly scanning. That's a proper situational awareness.
Yeah.
right, like that's the ideal situation. I mean, and the number of times it's like, it's always striking to me when you see somebody in the rear view mirror and you can already tell they're, a half a mile behind you, and you can already tell it's an issue and you're going to need to manage them.
Yeah. Usually they're in an Altima, but that's a whole other.
Hey,
I missed a question before I wanted to ask you, people that you worked with, and I don't want to say, hey, who did you like, who didn't you not, who did you not like, but who surprised you as being a shoe? Like, have there ever been any actors, that just, you're like, oh man, that guy or gal can really drive? Yeah.
No, that's actually a great question, and I can expand on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Christian Bale was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He really got it and was very enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that skill set came from he used to track motorcycles.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right.
So, and I find the guys that are competent on bikes on a track translate into a car because they understand balance and weight transfer and all of that. It just clicks with them. Mm-hmm. He was phenomenal. On Ferrari, Patrick Dempsey, I let him do all of his own driving.
No kidding.
He was amazing. And he's actually one of the few actors that has ever been listed as a stunt performer.
Really?
Really?
Okay. I mean,
So he's listed. No, he used to race Porsches. And I think
Yeah,
he got
yeah,
back
Right.
into it.
yeah,
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 he's getting
yeah.
back into it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Very,
track that
very competent driver. Yeah.
Right on. Okay.
he was involved in, it's called the Heart of Racing now, but it was Team Seattle, and they were affiliated with the driving school at Pacific Raceways up here, which is where I
Oh,
drive
wow.
in Seattle. And so I actually had the opportunity to travel like with the team when it was Patrick Dempsey and Joe Foster and Don and Donna Kitch to Daytona for the 24 hours a couple times.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah. Supposedly
Yeah.
a hell of a nice guy too. So.
Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah.
Super
Just,
nice.
he just became one of the guys. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Right on.
Well, and I
Yeah.
love,
There's
I think it was on, was it, I think it was with Maurice when you were talking about it and you said he would come to, when you were prepping the cars or whatever, and he just looked like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was literally like, are we testing today? Are we testing? I want to go out and test. Let's go test.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Are you a car week guy at all? Do you go to Luft, or do you find the time?
I've been to car week.
Yeah.
It seems like my schedule gets full, or my schedule is actually so unpredictable because of film. I was supposed to go this year and I couldn't make it. I went the year prior.
Yes.
It was, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Friend of mine got me tickets for Quail. So to see all of that was just spectacular.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to
That's
do
the
it
best.
again next year.
Right on.
Well, if you're there, we all have to meet up in person.
100%.
Yeah.
The That Car Show team is a huge fan of Car Week.
It's under our skin. My first time was a couple of years ago, and it just blew my mind. It's like finding your tribe or whatever. And
Right.
Car Week's gotten a lot of grief lately for just kind of getting, having gotten too big for its britches or whatever. But I don't know. I love it. I'm a fan.
Sideshow
Everyone's there.
shenanigans.
It's but that's the shadow
no
Car
fault
Week.
of its own. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. It is.
That's
I know. Well, so you mentioned having the opportunity for Christian to spend time with Bob Bondurant, which is, I mean, that's not something you can manufacture, obviously. That's just a gift. that
No,
Bob
and I
had
never saw that
really-
coming to the extent that it did.
Well, and for Bob to still be alive and just Christian to be able to basically pick his brain and hear the stories and really, I can't imagine how valuable that would be as an actor to really be able to just steep in the real stories from somebody that lived it. That feels like it would be such a gift. And I was going to ask you, because there are a lot of reasons that the film is very special to me and, I connected with it. But one of the things when I first watched it, I kept going like, wait, I know that person. Like, I know that person, like Alex Gurney driving as Dan. That's amazing. Like Alex went to high school with a family friend of mine. So I was like, wait,
Wow.
I know. And I'm like, and it was, I know who that is. And knowing that it was that it was a Gurney driving as Dan Gurney was just amazing. And then Derek Hill was involved and he's the son of Phil Hill, who was integral to the whole story. I don't know if there's been another movie like that where you've been able to have the people that lived it or the children of the people whose story you're telling are in the project. What was that like?
And there's more to it.
Yeah.
So tell me more. I want to hear all of it.
Yeah. So we'll start with Alex. I was connected to Alex through a friend of mine. I reached out to him, thought, would you be interested? And he says, yeah. So I had him send me a headshot. And when you look at him and his father, he's like a spitting image. And I went to Mangold. I said, can we please cast him as his father? His father passed 6 months ago. This would be so fitting. He said, I'll have him read. Absolutely. And a couple days later, and so a couple days later, Mangold let me know that they cast him for it. And the hair on my arm stood up. I was like, that is so beautiful. And I love that I could do that.
Truly.
And Derek Hill was so valuable in his information and help. And so there's another one, Jeff Bucknam. His father, Ronnie Bucknam, drove the gold GT40 that finished third.
Right.
When that car showed up on set, Jeff broke down emotionally. And we just made fun of him for the rest of the film. So
as one does. No, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I was like, there's one other guy that I'm blanking on, and it was Jeff.
So, and I actually put him in the car. Unfortunately, we had already cast Tanner Faust as Ronnie Bucknam before I got connected with Jeff. But what I did in the final sequence when it crosses the start finish line, Jeff is actually driving the car on camera.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Well,
So
and
I,
our
you know,
shirts actually have a little Easter egg because the shirts are in what would have been the correct winning order. Can you
correct.
talk a little bit about that?
So yeah, I did. Sean, who designed this and owns Johnson Motors, we talked about it, and I said, I want the Ken Miles car in front. That's the proper order.
Yeah.
Mm.
And he agreed
Yeah.
that that's how it
Yeah.
should be portrayed. And I love that very few people have picked up on that. So thank you.
Of course. Well, that was,
that.
you know, my dad is a huge Shelby fan, and that
Mhm.
was a story. Honestly, I heard that story throughout my life because we would go to
Wow.
these events and we would, when Carol was still alive, we got to meet him, we got to meet Bob. My dad actually had the chance to become friends with them, and I think those were the stories of his kind of teenage years and early 20s and becoming a budding car guy, so it really stuck in his head. So then
Nice.
to get to meet those people in real life is amazing. But just the unfixable injustice of the way that was handled is just one of those things that's in
That
our
was,
world lore of just like what, and like even this many years on, it's still just like, man, like that is
yeah.
so frustrating. So it's really nice to have it corrected on the shirts at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just love that you picked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
do too.
out of curiosity, so what did your father think of the film?
Oh, he loved it. I
Good.
mean, and I think probably between like Tori's probably watched it 100 times. I think my family and I are probably like close seconds to that. But
Yeah.
I mean, like he and I have marveled about it's one of those films where I have yet to get sick of it because there was so much detail and the story is so involved, even outside of the cars, that there's like I notice something new every time. And I think it's like with anything, once you've seen something a few times and you sort of understand the main story, it frees you up to sort of look in the background and just like
Sure.
all of the little touches that you all put so much effort into. Just it's such a rich viewing experience that yeah, I mean definitely
Wow.
my favorite movie.
Thank you for that. That means the world to me. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate all of your hard work. It definitely paid off. Well, and so for those that don't know the story of what we're talking about with the cars and the order, can you quickly share like what we're saying, what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, Ken Miles was obviously leading the race at the end,
Right,
and he was ordered,
right,
to slow down because they wanted a 1, 2, 3 photo finish of the three cars crossing the start finish line. And ultimately, the officials came back and said because the number 5 black
right.
GT40 started further back, they said he covered more ground than Ken's car, therefore he was in first place.
Hmm.
They wouldn't agree to a photo finish of
Right.
everybody crossing at the same moment.
Right. So Ken had been
It's
awarded
so
first and then it was taken away from
yeah,
him.
yeah, as far as he knew, he'd won. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right. And then I think, and I don't know if this is correct, but I think there was some like, well, we'll get him again next year. And then unfortunately he
well, I think
passed
that
away
was the
before.
intention. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
was the intention.
And
And
then he was
unfortunately,
killed in
he
an
died
accident
testing
before.
the next year's
Yeah.
car.
Yeah. So that was, yeah, very, very sad. So I think it's really beautiful that you
Yeah.
did the tribute the way you did on the shirt.
Thank you for that.
Robert, one of the neat things about doing this is we get to meet people like you who are really, top of their game, but really people who are living their best lives, people who are doing exactly what they were born to do, and your passion is evident. And it's just been a real honor to talk with you.
This has been
I have some
great.
viewing to do now. Yeah. Some catching up to do.
I know. Well, before we let you go, I would love to hear like a story or two from Fast and Furious. I know that has been
Wow.
like those are some of my favorite car movies.
Probably my favorite is when we did Fast Five, with the scene with the safe, and just literally crushing cars left and right. I think we destroyed like 300 cars
Wow.
with that sequence. But I thought it was so visually was a great story point because you got this
Yeah.
thing, it's times it's tumbling, most of the time it's sliding around and just sending cars was, it's like a childhood dream. Like, let's just wreck everything.
You just get to go in and break everything and you're being told to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Did
So
you ever?
where do you
Oh.
get the cars? Like, you're going to just ruin them,
Yeah.
but they have to look good to
Yeah,
start.
yeah.
Where do you get the cars you're going to destroy?
So they put up no parking signs. If you leave your car there, you're down the path.
They're like, this is great. We don't have to pay for any of them.
Yeah. On that, I wasn't involved at that level. You got guys that run a picture car department. That's their thing.
Right.
I'm not sure where they sourced them. I think a lot of them came out of junkyards and then we just crushed
Right.
them.
Made it official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever think the franchise would be the thing that it is? Like, it's this cultural phenomenon. There's a certain generation, especially, where this is like sacred, right? The franchise. Did it feel like it when you were making it? I mean, is it?
It did when I feel like 5 brought it back.
Okay.
Because it was so well done. And I think, that, like I said, that action sequence with the safe.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, I can get behind this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a real thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, those are other movies that I rewatch regularly. They're just so fun. You know, it's just, it's such a.
No, you just have to go along for the ride, pun intended.
Escapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Well, Robert, this has really been a treat. I mean, I could probably talk to you all day and ask for more and more stories. So
Anytime.
hopefully you'll come
you.
back.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate
love
you
to.
joining us
Yeah.
and sharing like kind of a peek behind the curtain into an area of movies, especially, but really life that most of us never get to experience or hear about. It's been fascinating, and I think our audience is really going to enjoy the kind of sneak peek tidbits that you've shared.
Sure.
But before we let you go, where can people find you on social media?
So you can find me on Instagram, RP Nagle. Very simple.
Check it out.
I'll share it with you guys. So when this goes up, you can tag me in that. But
Perfect.
that's really it. Instagram's really my thing for
Yeah.
work. I do post a lot of behind the scenes stuff when it's appropriate. And it seems to be well received. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I can attest. You're a good follow for sure. So
Thank
check
you.
it out, RP Nagle on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those of us at That Car Show, remember, always be driving, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Robert.
much. It's wonderful.